Hey guys, hope you're doing really well today or tonight. I want to make a quick video on why I plan multiple vacations slash trips each year. Now, maybe this isn't such a controversial topic, but I think there is a value in having no vacations or no trips each year, right? So just kind of putting your head down, focusing, getting a lot of work done, and essentially just locking in, right? And or you might just not have the money to travel or take a vacation, which is also totally fine. But on the other hand, here's why I almost force myself to take multiple vacations and trips each year. So, and I do enjoy traveling. Don't get me wrong, but I think that there's a lot of value in actually taking vacations or a trip. Apart from actually just, being able to take a break, being able to just kick back a little bit, recalibrate. I think there's a little bit more to the story here, at least for me. So, yeah, I just want to just run you guys through it, and yeah, it might change your mind as to whether you're doing too many trips, you're not doing enough trips, or yeah, just I guess just give you some food for thought around my thinking when it comes to this. So, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first and foremost, traveling. And this happens, I mean, this is like very common, but it gets you out of your comfort zone, right? But especially for me, I'm noticing this the most, right? Definition of a first world problem, yes, being too comfortable. Now, for me, I do have it quite good in my life. Obviously, I have a nice job. I'm I'm fairly healthy. I am quite good with, like, for example, my money. I'm able to. I have the privilege to just give things a go. For example, like YouTube. Maybe it's taking on a second job. Having hobbies as well, having some nice friends. Like, I'm quite comfortable, I'd say, for the most part, because I have things quite good, in my opinion. Right now, obviously, that's not a bad thing at all. Being comfortable is a privilege. It's great. Obviously, we love to be comfortable. Um, but yeah, it's not a bad thing. It is something though to manage, because especially if you're young and ambitious and you're in that growth phase of your life, being in your comfort zone 24/7 will only kind of pull you back, right? It'll only keep you at bay, and obviously that's not something that we want. So, something to consider. If you're comfortable, take that as a blessing. However, in my opinion, we need to regularly grow too. Now, this is coming from, yeah, someone in their mid 20s who has done quite well when it comes to investing, job, hobbies. All these things are kind of all sorted for the most part. So I'm very fortunate, right? But I'm kind of looking for that next step. Is it a business? Is it do I double down on certain investments? Do I live in another country? There's so many questions, right? Okay. But if you're too comfortable, a lot of these things get pushed to the side because it's not a priority. You're quite comfortable, and naturally, your brain wants to just protect that and not focus on what could be, and more maintain what you currently have, right? Traveling solo, in my case, to new countries and learning cultures and environments is key. So I like to travel solo. Honestly, I think traveling with friends, I've never really traveled with friends, honestly. I think it's probably overrated. I'm just guessing. Obviously, you need to find friends that are willing to travel with you. They need to have their money sorted. You need to be able to take time off work, for example, and you need to be able to get along with them and not fight with them and be able to make lots of decisions as a team. So, if that works for you, awesome. But for me, being able to travel solo, and that was actually the first reason why I traveled solo to Europe back in 2022, I believe, was because I was fed up with asking people. I just wanted to kind of give it a go and get out there. So I just went solo, and best thing I could have ever asked for. It was absolutely amazing. Okay, so going to new countries, learning cultures is awesome, because obviously it broadens your perspective. I wouldn't be the person I am right now if it wasn't for traveling, just because I've seen so many things and I've learnt so many things, I've met so many people, and I've realized that, yeah, in Australia, we do have it quite good. It's not perfect, but we do have it really good in comparison to a lot of other countries, right? Environments is the other bit here that I've mentioned. I think, being able to change up your environments and pick your environments is absolutely key. Super, super important. Your environment is what really will make or break you. If you're in an environment where there's lots of hostility, or people are, not doing very well, or there's fighting, or there's stress, all these little things, it'll make it so that you're just in defense mode and you're just looking to just survive. That's it. But if you're in an environment like, for example, it could be a location. It could be like, for example, you're in Dubai, or you're somewhere that you feel really comfortable, or sorry, you feel comfortable to drive business, to grow, to do more things. That's really great. But this could also extend even to, like, your workforce, right? Where you work, that environment there, your environment at home, all these little things make a difference. And especially when you're traveling overseas, right? These new environments and these new learnings will be key, in shaping who you are and just developing yourself, exponentially developing yourself, much more than, even 5 years just doing your day to day. You'll probably learn in under a year of traveling to these new places and meeting new people and just doing more things. Excuse me. Well, it's time to take a breath. I always seek new opportunities and continue to develop myself. So yes, like I said, obviously traveling and vacationing are to take a break for the most part. Recalibrate, get you back into work later on. But I always use it to seek new opportunities and meet new people, potentially look at things to invest in, potentially look at residencies, citizenships. I wouldn't just lay on a beach for a month. I couldn't do that. It doesn't actually even sound that interesting to me. So I always continue to grow, look at ways, look for ways to how I can kind of develop myself, so that I come back a better person and a more developed person and a more knowledgeable person as well, or whatever I'm looking to focus on, whether that's happiness, whether that's investing, whether that's, maybe learning a new language, maybe, meeting new friends. It could be anything, but you want to be a better person or a more developed or improved person than when you left, right? And that's a big part of traveling for me and taking vacations. Okay, traveling is key to personal development. So balance fun with seeking new opportunities. For example, people, investments, residency, and experiences. Like I just said, it's you're obviously allowed to enjoy your holiday, your vacation, but seeking new opportunities, developing yourself is going to be key. Or that's how I use it, and it is key. It has been key. Doing that multiple times a year, whether it's, to Malaysia, whether it's to Thailand, Europe, America, Mexico, anywhere. Okay, you want to enjoy yourself. Maybe spoil yourself. Maybe, grab some new shoes. Maybe purchase, grab some food that's a little bit new and different. But always seek new opportunities. All right, it's going to skyrocket your personal development. Traveling solo, stay in hostels and put yourself in positions to meet new people, for example, at a cafe or a library. So again, I personally really enjoy traveling solo because it's what I know. And how I've been able to do that is I've stayed in hostels, which are cheaper, but they also force you to meet people. And essentially just put yourself in positions to meet people. I'll go to a cafe, I'll go to a library, I might go to a shopping center where, I could ask for recommendations or something like that. Put yourself in positions to meet new people. Naturally, you will meet new people, but you'll also become a more extroverted or a more comfortable with reaching out to other people kind of person, which is great. I think, being a human is a lot of that is working with and connecting with other people. So I think that's really key that a lot of people could probably benefit from. Another point in personal development here, planning around visas, all the different types of travel, time zones, etc. Being able to plan through all these things is a great skill to have. Not only for travel, but for work, for personal life, even with like managing conflicts, because all these different things, you're going to have different people saying, no, you can't do this, or this is too expensive, or yeah, and I'm not talking about like your friends. These could be governments. These could be, you know, people at the airports. It could be your bank account saying you don't have enough money. Lots of different things, but being able to essentially problem solve and get around that is super super key. It, it can be its own like little mini process, right? You could spend a couple of hours just planning out, one part of a trip, to the detail if you want, but it's just very interesting being able to break things down, even things like travel insurance, things that most people wouldn't know or care about, but these are things that you're forced to essentially look out and learn about these things and put them into practice. And yeah, it ends up, yeah, I think I've developed a lot just from having to solve these problems when it comes to traveling. Can give a lot of well-being, can give me a lot of well-being, sorry, almost being supercharged by moving to a new environment. Yeah, I think it's like obviously you're used to something day in day out, and being able to go somewhere that you actually feel you really enjoy, or you might have friends in that you've met, or it might be culturally significant to you, but moving into a new environment where instantly, if it's not that, it's the people around you, and you just feel so empowered, and you feel like you just want to put your head down and work. If you're somewhere like Thailand, maybe you want to instead just party. You get that energy from people around you partying and that scene. But if you're somewhere like, for example, Dubai, Monaco, maybe even America to some extent, you're in that environment where you just want to work. You just want to get things done. You want to get involved in personal development, which I think again super super important and is a big reason why I do travel multiple times a year. All right, final point here is squeezing the most out of life. So many people will purchase material things. All my money is either in investments or experiences. I am a bit of a minimalist. I don't really have too many personal possessions, and I prefer it that way, to be honest. Yeah, I'm either putting it in things like real estate, Bitcoin, stocks, other things, or I'm actually going through that process to, actually take on some new experiences, um, just enjoy, yeah, I guess enjoy my the short amount of time we actually have here. So, yeah, really important. It could even be, and sorry, by trips and vacations, I've added a note here. It could be a 1 hour trip to a cafe, a flight across the country, or traveling internationally. It could be something very small, just being able to get out of your routine day to day and just shake it up, get into a new environment, right? If you don't have the money to travel overseas and get the full extent of what travel and vacationing and kind of aligning personal growth with that could look like, something simple like going, you know, taking the train to a new city or a new town, and speaking to people there, just somewhere different that you haven't been before, and it requires you to look around a little bit, and you're not sure. That could be really valuable as well. Okay, find what works for you. Monitor when life gets a little bit boring or when you become complacent. Okay, so again, this isn't a one size fits all. I think you need to kind of be willing to, yeah, just try different things. Understand, when you're actually not progressing, when you're at a standstill or a stalemate, and you kind of want to, yeah, ideally you want to kind of grow and do a little bit more. Okay, so obviously, life isn't just on an increase, right? Things do get steady or they get a little bit boring, and just find ways to kind of adjust around that and work around that. Don't just sit there bored. Actually, do something about it, right? And that's where traveling and vacation comes in for me. Last point here: you don't want any regrets later on in life, so put things in the diary to get you excited for the future. I've done this with marathons. I've done this with like things at work that I've really looked forward to. And yeah, vacations is another one where it's just in the diary for the year. You're working towards it. Day to day is going to be the same kind of things, but then once that time hits, in say 6 months' time, you're very excited. You've been waiting a while for this, and yeah, it's something that you actually want to achieve or want to or will progress to in your life, right? Even if it's to a similar place and you want it as almost like a focus city to get you out of where like your kind of day to day, totally fine. Just treat it's essentially like a mix of treating yourself, but also using it as an opportunity to get involved in personal development and also growth. So yeah, that's why I regularly organize trips and vacations. Super important in my opinion. Um, but just depending on where you are in life, it might not be. But yeah, works for me. So just wanted to share that with you guys. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.